Hello and welcome to this episode of the Sticky Note Marketing Show. I am your host, Mary Zarnecki, and today I'm thrilled to introduce you to Layne Quinn. Layne is a consultant here in the Willamette Valley, so here out with me in Oregon wine country. And today we are going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, I know, which is all about optimization and systems. So today, thank you so much, Layne, for joining us. We're excited to have you here and happy to have you on the show.
Yes, thank you so much, Mary. Appreciate your time.
I know there are folks listening and watching who know you and know your work well, but for those who are meeting you for the first time, tell us a little bit about who you work with and what you specialize in.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I've most recently have been in the wine industry for the last 10 years. I'm based out of Newburgh, Oregon, here in the heart of the Willamette Valley. I'm actually native Oregonian, so not many people get to claim that. But I have experience in philanthropy and hospitality, and I feel like a lot of that's come around to kind of help me get to the point where I created this business.
Amazing. Now, I know you specialize in optimization, business strategy, organization. So, when you're thinking about some of those topics, which I know people's ears are perking up and hopefully they're getting their sticky notes out, but when you're seeing organizations struggle with these topics, what are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing people deal with right now?
Goal setting and like determination of the best path forward, probably. So my business specifically is Quinvine or QV Consulting. And I've tried to keep that focused on that last 10 years I've had in the wine industry, specifically with relation to like membership and wine clubs. So that's where a lot of my wine experience was. And so that's the focus I am trying and working on from a business standpoint and trying to help optimize programs, grow programs. And I also do that a lot personally, like we are talking about. But it's my approach to life in general. So, being the last 10 years I've been primarily with memberships, that is my focus, but it's a strategy throughout many facets of life as
Definitely.
well.
When an organization is trying to grow a membership program, whether that's a direct-to-consumer wine program or another kind of membership, where are you seeing people get hung up? Where are people reaching that kind of stall point when it comes to growth?
That's a great question. Right now, too, especially in the industry, it's also just like finding new members, finding new consumers. It's definitely an interesting time in the wine industry, in the greater alcohol as a whole. So that's definitely trying to reach new markets and trying to get your product or services out there. And that's actually why I too have joined the board of directors for Women in Wine Oregon. That's where you and I met
Yes.
because I wanted to be a part of a larger conversation for the industry and how to do that, because getting in front of new consumers and also making sure that we're staying relevant when a lot of NA, non-alcoholic products, are becoming onto the market and becoming very popular. So it's just a changing of the tide, I think, generationally between the last round of winemakers and just seeing the new rounds coming in has been where a lot of that has started to happen, I think.
And I think that touches on something that's really important, and I know top of mind for a lot of businesses, which is it's not just about getting in front of anyone, right? It's about
Mhm.
getting in front of the people who you have a right to win with, that you have value for, that whatever product or service it is that you're bringing to the market is going to give them something, right? There's a what's in it.
Mhm.
So when you're thinking about that, when you're either working with a client or putting together a proposal, how do you keep that in mind, or how do you work through developing that proposal for clients?
I have a sort of a three-step process. Like I said, I really try and focus on creating, optimizing, and growing like a membership or something like that. But I also have like my three W's. These are the post-its where I come in. So let me back up for a second. Creating and optimizing and growing. I try and do those three things by working through both task-based goals and allow myself to provide guidance along the way. I hope that's answering your question. So, for example, there was one winery I was working with where they wanted to create a subscription-based program. I have experience starting up a membership program from a subscription-based rather than the traditional allocation-based wine club membership. And in the process of working with them, I said, why is it you want a subscription-based in addition to your existing allocation? They said that they had a lot of declines on credit cards, so they wanted a new program for a better cash flow. I was like, okay, through task-based goals, I was working with them. It's like, here's the steps we want to take to create a new subscription-based program, but also providing guidance. Like, here's where we could also maybe streamline your existing program if we're investing too much more time, money, and energy into a new program. So that's how I try and consider how things work through the task and then just also guidance. Like, here's what we can do, but also here's some considerations we may want to do as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, that definitely answers it. And I think you bring up an important point, which is to make sure that people are asking the question before we create something new.
Hmm.
First, why do we want to create that new thing? And is there more leverage that we could get out of the thing we already have? Because that's what I heard you say about actually, if this is the problem you're trying to solve, yeah, this new thing could be the solution to that problem, or there may be ways to get more juice out of what you already have. So, how do you kind of
Yes.
work through that?
So I try and make sure I follow like three particular steps when I'm actually like working with a client or like building a proposal. So sticky note, probably like the three W's if I'm trying to like wrap around the concept there. So it would be the what, the why, and then the way that we're going to accomplish something. So what are we looking to accomplish? First, I meet with a client, I talk to them, understand their business a little bit, and really get to know what they're looking to accomplish. And then also the why we're looking to accomplish that, which is a task-based.
Yeah. So, you were talking about the three whys. So, I know
Yes.
everyone's got their sticky notes out. Everyone get your pens ready. And Lainey, tell us how can we use these three to make sure that we're doing the right thing here?
Yes, the three W's, if you will. Yes. So first I have the what. So I take a meeting with the client to understand the business, understand what they're looking to accomplish, what the work scope is. And then I also ask about the why, learning to identify why they want to accomplish this very early on in a process, I find super beneficial. It keeps us on track. Oftentimes during a project, other ideas or concepts of things that we may want to accomplish for a business comes up. It's like, why is that going to help us get to that original? What are we looking to do? And so I always try and establish those very early, the what and the why, because I will always steer a client back to that to keep us on track. I feel like it's such a more positive experience for everybody. It keeps us goal focused. And then I create a proposal based on that. So once I get a proposal together, I cite the why for the review. And this has proven very helpful for me in the past with clients as well, because I interpreted a why differently than they had thought they communicated it to me. So we went back and redid the proposal a couple of times. And I think, again, that elevates the client experience. We're very much on the same page as to what the end goal is. And that's the third W is that way. Like, what is the way we're going to accomplish this? So we talked about the what, why we're doing it, and then the way that this is going to come together, which I also felt super helpful from a client perspective. So they know what tangible deliverable they're going to receive from this work. Is it like a stack of files and papers that are printed? Maybe it's digital assets and copies like on a thumb drive that they're going to be utilizing, like what formatting they want. Or or maybe it's, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Maybe it's a sort of digital platform goal, maybe like in a CRM or a POS that they're going to have like X amount of things accomplished in this system. So that's the three W's I try and stick with the what, the why, and the way. And then that way we know when a project is completed, we have that all at the end of a work together. And then at the final proposal, or at the end of a job, I'll create a wrap up that shows where those steps were met, like how that's gone, and also potentially based on those other things that we had to come back to the why with. For the other things we talked about, we did not get to,
Yes.
and why that could be a good task to focus on down the road as well.
I hope everyone got their sticky notes out because those three W's are gold because I think it sounds like it does a couple of different things for you. One, like you're starting with the picture of success, like you said, is why are we even doing this, right? What is this going to do for your business, right? This might be one thing. Your business is also doing other things. How does this fit into that? So you're ensuring that this initiative is going to help the bigger vision, right? Mission. And also it gives you the chance, both benefit for you as the provider, but also for the client to really then have clarity on what is coming. Like you said, what are the deliverables? What is the path forward? What does this roadmap look like?
Mhm.
And I think the part of that too is knowing, okay, what can we tackle first? And then what might have to become like a phase two, or what might have to be put on later in the roadmap? Because No one has unlimited resources, right? No one has that unlimited
As
opportunity.
much as we may want to think that we
Much
do.
as we would love that, but it gives us the opportunity to say, okay, let's really get success done here first before we start taking on too much. So I think that's really important for people to focus on.
And I also really like to book check-ins throughout that process too, because there's the what where that's that meet and greet. And
Yes.
then I create the proposal based on that, kind of citing the why, but also the project can take up a quarter or like maybe a couple weeks. Depends on the scope. But I also try and make sure on that time frame that I book several check-ins, whether it's me just emailing them like, hey, this is where I'm at and this is what I've gotten and this is where I think our project timeline is looking, or if it's over several months and it's like another meet and we sit down and go over things and just to make sure things are really staying on track and any other considerations. Like again, really about client-facing services and making sure if it's someone's business, this is the one of the most important things. It's a really trying to elevate that service by hitting those points and keeping those touch points flowing and feeling and making sure that the client feels communicated with and supported throughout the process too.
Amazing. When you think about what questions business owners or leaders within business should be asking themselves around these topics of optimization and kind of organization and strategy, are there certain kind of signals or red flags that you'd kind of give people a note on to say, okay, when you're seeing these kind of things, it may mean that there could be optimization opportunity in your
Mhm.
organization?
That's another great question, Mary. Probably just trying to make sure that reactivity doesn't get too far out of control because especially with the times that we're living in, markets, trends, there's so many things, especially in the wine industry that and beyond, that can really trigger a reaction that a company feels that they have to take in order to move a product or elevate their label. So it would be trying to consider what when you go into a situation when something comes up, it's like, how are we going to handle this? Making sure that it does come back to a mission statement or that it comes back to the what are we and what are we looking by making sure that we always come back to those questions, which is why I structure my business in the manner I create proposals in that way, is because as long as you're coming back to that is the point that will keep you from going too far off track and getting too reactive and overreacting to something to the point where it becomes a ripple effect down the line from a business standpoint or philanthropic standpoint too. As long as you know you're coming back to your mission
Yeah.
and that you've made a decision knowing that it is to that core, I think that would, as long as you're not reacting too much to that and coming back, I think that would be the key there.
No, I think that's a really good reminder for organizations is, okay, as we're taking on new initiatives or deciding we're going to be doing these new activities, does it really align to our core business or is it off track? Is it a
Mhm.
distraction?
Gauge that reactivity. And it's like, is this over or is this gauge? Is this the proper reaction? Kind of hard to tell nowadays.
Amazing. So, two more questions in the time that we've got together. So, number one, Lainey, what inspires you? So, we're all busy these days. We're all managing multiple projects and responsibilities and priorities. How do you stay inspired? How do you fill your cup so you can continue to serve your clients?
With a big driver for me is my daughter. I have a young daughter and just the one and only. She's the best. And a lot of what I do, both in philanthropic endeavors and in my business, I do always consider her in the back of my mind. I always want her to, I want to be a good role model for her. I would like to be a good leader. And anything I do, I try and do knowing that she'll be looking up to me. And I want to make sure that I'm being a good, strong businesswoman, a great mother, a good community representative. And everything I do, I try and do knowing that I'm going to have to look back on this earlier years in her life and like how I conducted myself in a way that would be a good role model for her. Because we have conversations, being a parent, you never know if you're doing anything right.
She didn't
But
come with
no,
a handbook. I know that.
no, yeah, I did pay for some books, but no, you never know when you're doing something right. When you say something and you're telling like this is what's important in life and this is how you need to become as a person. I'm leaning far more away from that and more into just trying to be the best business person, best community leader that I can be so she can just see. And so being as good as I can for her is a really great motivator for me.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then last question. I know that we gave people a lot of tips. We have the three W's on that sticky note. So hopefully all of you guys watching and listening of that have that recorded for yourself. But I know there are also probably sparks for people, like questions that may have come up, questions about how to be better at planning, how to be better at seeing those areas for optimization or building their own membership programs. What is the best way for someone to get in touch with you to continue the conversation from today?
Oh, absolutely. I might have my website, so quinnvine.com. So my last name is Quinn and Vine growing like a vine, like helping your business grow. So it's quinnvine.com. All my contact information is there. And there's a form you can fill out too with like business information and what you're looking to accomplish and to kick off a conversation there as well.
Fantastic. And no matter where you're watching or listening to this, we'll make sure to include Lainey's links and information. So please definitely continue the conversation. Feel free to reach out and ask questions. So thank you, Lainey, so much for joining us here on the Sticky Note Marketing Show today. Any parting thoughts for the folks listening and watching?
Just keep on track, take notes, I lose track of things going on in my brain. So I always take a bunch of notes and keep them all in one spot and keep yourself on track and you'll get there. You'll get to your goal.
Amazing. Thank you again for joining us, and thank all of you for joining us here on this episode of the Sticky Note Marketing Show. If you enjoyed this, if you found value, subscribe, share this with a friend. We appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you on a future episode of the Sticky Note Marketing Show.